nursing and long-term care, and you have your shift supervisors that you're trying to support and trying to elevate, and they're having struggles with conflict resolution, and you're trying to figure out how I can help them as being a leader. I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm Michelle Carter and I'm the owner of MCB Nurse Consultant. And I want to talk to you today about conflict resolution and how the Director of Nursing can help support their RN supervisors in overcoming the conflict resolution. Before we get started, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, MCB Nurse Consultant LLC. That way you can come back and watch all our videos at a later time. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Michelle Carter. I'm the owner of MCB Nurse Consultant. I'm the #1 DON coach that helps directors of nurses in long-term care to overcome their exhaustion and frustration of having to do it all. I want to talk to you today about conflict resolution and how, as a director of nursing, you can help your RN supervisors with conflict resolution and give them the support they need. I've been a director of nursing for over 17 years, so I've had multiple supervisors, and I've also been in a supervisor position as an evening supervisor and a weekend supervisor, so I can kind of tell you the aspects from both sides. As a director of nursing, you want to make sure, again, that you know the personality of your RN supervisors. They have such an important role. They are in charge of the building when you're not there, especially your evening, your week, and your weekend supervisors, because they're dealing with family members, they're dealing with admissions, they're dealing with staffing challenges, on top of that, conflict that might happen between team members, and sometimes conflict between the supervisor and team members. So you want to be able, as a director of nursing, to be fair and consistent and give them the support that they need. The first tip I want to give to you is understanding all your team members' personalities. And you can do that by using the Bank Methodology communication tool that can help you assess every team member's personality and the traits and communication strategies to be able to talk to them in their personality language. Once you're able to do that, then you want to be able to teach that to your RN supervisors. And so they can understand, especially immediate for the ones on their shift, so they can understand. You want to be able to give them autonomy also. Now, what I do with my RN supervisor, I give them autonomy as far as how they want to do their actual schedule. The scheduler makes the schedule, but if they need to move people or they need to rearrange the schedule, I'm okay with that, because they know who needs to work where. I'll also give them autonomy to have them handle certain corrective actions or certain in-services for their team, so they can the team can look at them as leaders also. When we do have that conflict resolution, a lot of times, if the team member doesn't like the outcome that the RN supervisor gave them, they're going to come and talk to the DON. And when that happens, you want to be fair and consistent. Now, it's perfectly fine to listen to what the team member says, but you also want to look at what happened with the RN supervisor. And what I do for myself is, my RN supervisor, if it's something that's a huge conflict, they will call me, and I will guide them through it if I can. And they do that. I give them that autonomy to call me as support, to give them that support, but I also want them to make the final decision. There's going to be situations where they're not going to call the DON, and they should be able to handle those situations. And you want to make sure what they did today, they do the next time, and they're fair and consistent. That's the biggest thing with conflict resolution, is being fair and consistent, and listening to both parties and following your policies and procedures of what's right and what's wrong, and making sure everybody's being respectful to each other. Another thing that you want to do with the conflict resolution is, once that RN supervisor tells you what is happening, and then the team member tells you what is happening, if you already gave the RN supervisor autonomy to do some education, some on-spot education or some written education, you want to still support them in that manner. I had a situation not too long ago where I had the RN supervisor take care of a situation with a team member. every pieces of the situation weren't made clear to me, but when I got the detail, there were still situations that needed to be handled in a form in a written education or written corrective action process. I supported our RN supervisor on the part that truly needed to still go forward, because what we don't want to do with our team members is to play the good dad, the bad cop, good cop, or the good mom, bad dad. And team members may play you against each other. So you want to be on the same page, and also you want to be fair and consistent. Before that RN supervisor should even be doing any type of correction actions, any type of on-the-spot education, they need to build relationships with the team. And you can do that by helping them build relationships, helping them learn their personalities, guiding them in the personalities using the bank methodology tools, staying over maybe once or twice a week when they first start, and help guide them of who is who, and also talking to the team and see how they're interacting. Talk to the team. How's the new supervisor doing? Do you feel like they're coming and give you help? And if you get feedback, give that to them in a positive way. You might want to go over to neighborhood C a little bit more often, because the CNAs over there, they struggle, and they've been struggling for that extra support. You don't necessarily have to tell them who exactly is not feeling connected, but guide them in a way so they can learn how to connect with that team. Because if you don't have that foundation of good relationships, when it comes time, if there's any type of corrective action or on-the-spot education, because of a conflict resolution, it's not going to go over very well, because they haven't built that relationship. Sometimes the conflict is just because it was lack of communication. So you want to get to the root cause of why this happened. Was it because of lack of communication? Was it because this person assumed this instead of actually asking the question? And you want your team to feel free to ask questions, and your supervisor also. Being the house supervisor or the RN supervisor, it can be a challenging job, because you're trying to put fires out, you're trying to take care of the missions, you're also trying to take care of what needs to happen, making sure the residents get quality care, and dealing with family members. There may be some issues, conflict resolution with family members. You may have irate family members that come into the building and are being rude to your supervisor or to your team members. You still want to be able to support your team. There should be no situations that is acceptable for a team member, a family member, or anybody to be rude to each other when they're having conversations. We have to sometimes step back when it is family members and just look and be calm, and let them vent what they have to say and look at their situation. A lot of conflict with family members isn't truly against us. It's because they're upset and are frustrated about the situation. If we have done something that is not in the best interest of the resident, or is not in what we follow in our policy and procedure, we need to be honest about it, apologize, and move forward. And then handle and hold the team members who didn't follow the processes, hold them accountable. You want to be able to have that connection yourself, because when you leave that building at 4 or 5 o'clock every evening, your RN supervisor is in charge. So you know you're only a phone call away, but you don't want to be very short when they do call you when they're having problems, especially with your new RN supervisors. You want to be open, like, hey, what can I help you do? Is there anything I can help you get over this hump? And give them techniques, and listen to what they're saying, and give them support. Because remember, them coming in new, they're not new to nursing because they're supervisors, but they're new to your building, and they're new to the personalities that they're dealing with. So you want to be able to help them understand the personalities. Again, a lot of times it falls right down to knowing your team. Once you know your team, everything else can kind of fall into place. When you do have those conflict resolutions and conflict situations, and you're trying to resolve the problem, what you did in this situation, again, should be fair and consistent, and do the same thing in the next situation. you do not talk to, as supervisors, you want to guide them. Do not talk about the conflict with other team members. I had supervisors that felt it was okay when there was problems with a CNA on Unit B to talk to the CNAs on Unit C about that. That's totally unprofessional, and it kind of takes away from the leadership development. It takes away from your leadership role. And then how do you think that the team member on B feels that now they can't trust the supervisor if they do have an issue they want to confide in? And then C is going to look at that supervisor like, I'll never tell her anything because I know she's not going to keep it confidential. As an RN supervisor, you want to make sure that you keep whatever the team members personally is confidential. Of course, you're going to talk to your DON about it, but that does not mean for you to talk to other team members about it. Other supervisors, other team members. You need to handle to the DON, ADON, whoever however your chain of command goes, that you let them know what was going on. If some of these tips help you, it's going to help you be able to connect with your team, overcome conflict resolution, and also build strong relationships. None of us want to deal with conflict, and that's ideally. We want to make sure that everybody's living in harmony and we're having great days, but things do happen. 95% of conflict happens because of lack of communication. Sometimes we have to just sit back, be quiet, and listen first, and then react. Be more proactive, and then have your response and talk in the person's personality. It's so important as nurse leaders and nurses and RN supervisors, which are nurse leaders too, and directors of nurses, to learn the bank methodology and learn how to understand individuals' personality. It will change your relationship, it will change your communication skills, and will bring you to a level where you're able to handle these situations in a better and have better outcomes. I want you to be able to come and join us on September 19th. It's going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m. Directors of Nurses Lead with Care, Elevate and RN Supervisors. It's time as directors of nurses that we do things to help elevate our supervisor. And I want to give you some tips that I've learned over my 17 years and some tips from other directors of nurses that you can help you build that relationship with your new supervisor. You may be a new DON coming in where the supervisors have been there for 10 years. That you can build those relationships, that y'all can be able to work together and build your teams up. Because in order for the director of nursing to build a team up, she has to build her leadership team up, and the leadership team needs to help her build the rest of the team up. And let's start with your RN supervisors, because they are so essential to our facilities. They're there on the off shifts. They handle all the problems and concerns and the positive and negative outcomes on our off shifts on our weekends. So we want to be able to embrace them, encourage them, and lift them to the next level. And you can learn techniques and strategies in our seminar on September 19th. 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a virtual seminar. It's absolutely free. This is my gift to give to my directors of nurses and my RN supervisors. Directors of nurses Lead with Care, elevating RN supervisors long-term care. I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity to learn how you can elevate your team, starting with your RN supervisors. Again, thank you for your time that you were able to get on and listen to this video and help you be able to do tips to help you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment at the bottom of the video to our YouTube channel, MCB Nurse Consultant LLC. And I can't wait to see you on September 19th at 7 p.m. at our free seminar, Directors of Nurses Lead with Care, Elevate and RN Supervisors in Long-Term Care. See you on the 19th.